Hey everybody, we're back again.
Wow, good to see you.
Yeah, another Holy Week Passion video.
This is good.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. We went through introduction video, Palm Sunday. We did Holy Monday yesterday, and now we're on Holy Tuesday.
Yeah.
And we're calling this day the warning.
The warning.
The warning. I like to call it the warning.
Okay, why?
There's a reason. On this day, the Pharisees and them, their plot to kill Jesus really starts to come.
It's coming together.
And what you notice is that you know you're working in God's will when two groups that have a dislike for each other, their mutual hatred for you, overrides their dislike of each other.
What do you do when hatred causes unity?
Yeah, yes.
But they're in one accord.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're on one accord, yeah.
They're on one accord.
And they're like, yo, we got to get this Jesus guy out of here. Because here's the thing. He was messing up their religious system. Now, I don't want to use that in a negative way that you hear people use now when they talk about, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual.
Yeah.
We're not, throw away religion.
A pure definition of religion.
Yes. There you go. So he was messing with, watch this, and we're going to talk about this, how they were practicing religion.
Yes, sir.
How they were doing it. So after they get together, they do this, Jesus starts talking to the crowd and to the disciples in Matthew 22, I believe, and he tells them, listen to what they're teaching. They're teaching you, watch this, the scriptures that are pure. But he tells them, don't do it the way that they do it, which means their interpretation isn't pure.
Wow.
The scriptures.
The application of it. There you go.
The scriptures are fine.
Yeah.
Our interpretation is not always 100%.
Yeah.
So
the way they were applying it.
Yep. He said they're reading the scriptures to you, which is okay. But their problem is they're in their hearts, they're vipers.
Yeah.
He says they put heavy weights on people. He makes this thing up. They make this a burden.
Yeah.
They make it hard to serve me. That, they care more about themselves than you.
Is it possible, Pastor Nick, that it was not a misinterpretation, but a facilitating method to keep the people ignorant of the truth, but also to control the people?
Yeah, because Jesus was messing with their control.
Absolutely.
He came in teaching on this stuff, and that's why and when you read this happened between Matthew 21 down in 20 to 23 and 24.
Yeah.
They keep sending people to him and say, well, what about marriage in heaven? What are you talking about marriage in heaven? It's marriage in heaven. What you worried about that? They keep throwing little things at him to see, will they agree with their control? But he was exposing them, and watch this. They used to be the head honchos in town.
Yeah.
All the people followed them. Then here goes this new guy on the scene, and all these folks are following him.
Is it possible that one of that misinterpretation is what they would do this in front of a crowd to see if he would support their misinterpretation? So even if they were talking to Jesus, they were still trying to look right in front of the crowd.
Yes. Yep.
That's very manipulative.
Very, very much so.
I had a guy text me last week that said the Bible, religion, was a method that superior people used to control, quote unquote, inferior people. And I was amazed because when the quote unquote inferior get the revelation of the word, they start demanding liberation. And not just liberation in their own power, but enlisting the power of God as the person that gives them the might and the strength to be liberated.
Yeah.
So it just depends on how you look at that thing, your interpretation and your application. And some people even today say that a liberation theology is not real theology. But I believe context of your life gives you a perception, perspective of the Word of God. If you've never been enslaved, then you may not see the liberation in the Word of God. But if you've been discriminated against at all, it's liberation from Genesis to Revelation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of context.
Yep.
But I love the fact that God is a God of those who feel they're from the top of the heap, and those that also dwell for a season in the valley.
Yeah.
He can reach both.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what the gospel does.
Mm-hmm.
It liberates the oppressed, corrects the oppressor. It gives people who aren't an oppressor but don't have an understanding of oppressed people an understanding.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Isn't it amazing that when these enemies began to plot, their biggest fear was not Jesus.
It was the people.
Their biggest fear was the people.
Yep. Yep.
He said, because the whole world's gone after him.
Yes, sir. And he said, and a couple of times we're going to get them, but if we do it now, the people are going to get
Oh,
us.
die.
We're afraid of the movement that's been created.
Mm-hmm.
Because this man's coming here doing these miracles, doing these teachings, and they're no longer listening to us. They're not listening to him.
And they didn't disqualify his power.
Mm-hmm.
They tried to get him on technicalities.
Yep.
He's doing this stuff on Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not that he's invalid.
Mm-hmm.
We know who you are.
Yeah.
But we're going to get you on technicality.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
We can't mess with your miracles, but we will mess with when you do it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Who you're talking to.
Yep.
And those issues, they were hoping would substantiate their positions, at the same time cause some people to fall away from him.
Yep.
But his teaching was too strong.
Too strong. It's too strong. And they stuck with him.
Because the signs and the wonders were adding the icing to the cake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So he corrects them.
Yeah.
And he tells the disciples, his new leaders, watch this, y'all. This is how you're not supposed to act. Mm-hmm. And he uses, like David did with what God did with David and Saul, I'm going to show you what to be by showing you what you're not supposed to be.
Right.
Do the opposite of these people because they're leading wrong.
Yeah.
And like David could become a better king because he was exposed to a bad king in Saul, even though David had a little small trait of Saul in him, which led to the whole Bathsheba and Uriah situation.
Yeah.
But God will sometimes use a negative example.
Yep.
What we use in thematic revelation, the antithesis, to show you what you should be.
Absolutely.
In leadership.
Wow.
Because he knew his disciples were getting ready to take over. I'm getting ready to get out of here. And I need you guys to know that leadership is humbly leading people. Leadership is example oriented. It's not controlling, it's leading people.
And I think Jesus was bringing integrity back to religion.
Yes.
Because I still don't see, I think we may approach that term based on our own interaction with the Lord. I don't see religion as a bad thing. But I'm sure it's the context in which my life has been lived and, you know, what God has done. So I see religion, the positive sides of it, you know, something that you're committed to, something you do consistently, something that you love, some, you know, those positive things. Whereas other people see the downside. Now, I'm not unaware of the downsides, but I'm looking for a way in. I'm not looking for a way out.
Yes. Yep.
And I'm not sure anything that a human being is involved in can be absolutely perfect.
Oh, yeah. It's going to have something in there.
Yeah. Because we have our own interpretations like the Pharisees did, which are usually not things Jesus would be pleased with.
Yep.
But maybe things that are good, that support us socially and religiously on the negative side and politically. We have those, mankind tends to distort good things.
Yeah. So, because you're right. James says pure religion is taking care of the widows, taking care of the poor. He doesn't discount it. He tells us what religion looks like, helping the oppressed out. That's what the Bible calls pure religion.
How does a modern day Christian have an issue with that?
Because like you said, their interpretation is I'm leaving religion and becoming more spiritual, when the reality is the more religious you are, the more spiritual you are.
Yes, sir.
You can't separate the two.
And the more spiritual you become, the more religious you should be.
But I think we get into these buzzwords, and because somebody popular uses it that way, we lose the nuance of, how can I say this nicely? My issue is when somebody has a bad experience themselves and they automatically blanket everybody else's experience and says, because mine was bad, then all y'all's is bad too.
And is it possible that we come into any situation with a personal agenda.
Mm-hmm.
And when that personal agenda is not fulfilled, it feels like rejection.
Mm-hmm.
And then we reject the entire process.
Yes.
Yet, when it comes to us as people,
Mm-hmm.
we don't want someone to reject us because of a failure.
Yep.
We want them to at least try to work with us
Mm-hmm.
and try to understand. But I think people look for a way to be offended as it relates to God.
Yep.
Because God requires faith and obedience.
Yep.
And you can never tell which one he's going to demand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And sometimes it seems like, to what you're saying, I'll use this example. The ones who had bad church experiences
Mm-hmm.
seem to be the loudest. When a lot of us, like, I get you had a bad experience at this one church,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't mean that every church is the same way, every pastor is the same way. So why discount a whole institution?
Those same individuals will apply for another job after they've been fired from one. They don't say working is just terrible.
Right, yeah,
I'm never going to do it again.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Right. It's a Pharisaic mindset.
Absolutely.
I look at my heart's not right, that whole thing. So Jesus is trying to show them how to humbly lead people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting ready to leave, and I'm going to show you, teach the word properly, lead by example.
And not with manipulation.
And not with manipulation
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
So that was really what happened on Holy Tuesday. Tomorrow, we're going to have Bible study. It's going to be a doozy. Just letting you know that now, because we're in this intercession series. And we got to talk about how intercession even worked in the life of Judas too.
Mm.
And sometimes the hardest person to pray for is your Judas, but Jesus intercedes for, because Wednesday is Spy Wednesday, where Judas goes in and betrays Jesus. And
Yeah, man.
but Jesus prays for somebody that betrays him. So it's going to be a difficult conversation, but
One of those difficult commands that he exemplifies.
that he exemplifies.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about how to do it. It's not easy. And then jump right into Holy Thursday.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Good Friday, virtual Good Friday service. It's going to be cool.
Yeah.
And
Looks like we got some good guests lined up.
yeah, y'all going to like it. All right, y'all. We'll see you later. God bless you.
See you next time.